The Watership Down podcast is intended for listeners who are familiar with the plot. There will be spoilers. This episode is scripted, narrated, recorded and edited by Newell Fisher. Hello, and welcome to the Watership Down podcast episode 176, in which we will be looking at the fifth and final 10-minute segment of the first episode of the 2018 Netflix version of Watership Down. Once again, there is no barrow keeping this week, so let's get straight into it. Netflix miniseries Episode 1, Part 5, Watership Down. Part 5 of Episode 1, The Journey, runs from 40 minutes 10 to 50 minutes 10, and the reverse timings are 10 minutes exactly to the end. The equivalent chapters from the book are chapters 17 to 19, The Shining Wire, Watership Down, and Fear in the Dark, though, spoiler alert, you might argue that chapter 34, General Woundwort, also features. As we rejoin the action from last week's cliffhanger, Hazel and Fiver have just seen that Bigwig has been caught in a snare. Hazel runs to him and desperately asks what the Owlser taught him to do about snares. Before Bigwig has responded, he tells Fiver to fetch the others. Bigwig's only words are dig, bite. In the book he manages to be a bit more specific. However, Hazel manages to work out his meaning without Blackberry being present and starts digging at the peg. Meanwhile, Fiver arrives at the Great Burrow, where he raises the alarm. Cowslip's reaction is only reported in the book, but here we see his altogether more extreme reaction as he blocks their way and says no one can leave. He explains that Frith has decided it is Bigwig's turn. Apparently a day less for one means a day more for all. Other rabbits of the Warren who are in the Great Burrow echo this sentiment in the form of a chant. And suddenly, if you are unfamiliar with the story, the full horror of this place is laid open as not only the human corrupted Warren of the book, but as an actual death cult. Blackberry is the first to reply, saying that Cowslip is about to find out why it is that they have made it through everything they have over the last few days, with Bluebell finishing off his point. Instantly Strawberry speaks up, telling Cowslip to let them go, thus making her redemption arc a lot easier than in the book, in which the male Strawberry would presumably just be discovering that his doe, Nildro Hane, has died in the same way Bigwig is about to. As the rabbits barge past Cowslip, he shouts after them that they will be no safer out there, they will be dead by sunset. This is a slightly more coherent version of his insanity than that presented by Stephen Fry's Cowslip in the 1999 TV series. Back at the snare, Hazel is still desperately digging at the peg. The others arrive, and Blackberry asks if Bigwig is still alive. Hazel, strangely, says he doesn't know, even though he is facing Bigwig, who is on his feet and pulling away from the peg. Hazel is just following Bigwig's instruction to dig and bite. Blackberry points out that the peg is narrowing and they can bite through. In the absence of Pipkin, Hazel orders Fiver, as the smallest, to bite at the peg. They desperately ask each other if there is anything else they can do. So far the rabbits have displayed the same selective ignorance of basic physics that would be necessary in order for a snare to still kill an intelligent talking rabbit. I discussed this in the original episode that dealt with this part of the book, which was episode 13. If you want to listen back, the timestamp is 6 minutes. We see Fiver make progress biting through the peg, as they tell Bigwig to hold on as he digs his claws into the earth in his effort to get away from the peg, and this is, of course, exactly what is killing him. This is the true brutality of a snare, and the reason it would not kill a human. And Bigwig's behaviour here is far more true to how a wild animal would behave in this situation than even the 1978 film. Then, as Bigwig gasps for air with increasing difficulty, Hazel cries out for him to stop. At the time the script was being written, this must have made sense, but it actually undermines the entire basis of the scene. If Hazel is capable of knowing what Bigwig needs to do in order to save himself, then he is capable of going to his weakening friend and stopping him himself by trying to push him back towards the peg. But he does not. Hazel now urges for the thinning peg to be pushed. Blackberry points out that the noose is getting tighter. We see Bigwig's claws digging into the earth. Again, Hazel nonsensically tells Bigwig to stop pulling. The shots become increasingly frenzied, switching between Bigwig struggling and Fiver biting through the peg, his mouth growing bloody from splinters. And suddenly it breaks. The broken peg flies through the air. Bigwig lies on the ground. He is still. They all go to him except the exhausted Fiver. Blackberry, as in the book, attends to Bigwig first. He can't hear him breathing. There is an extended moment of silence as they take in what has just happened. And then, as we see them gather together spontaneously around him from above, they intone those beautiful words that are the only element of a Lapine funeral in this story. My heart has joined the 1,000, for my friend stopped running today. Fiver hangs back, though. It is as if he is about to deliver the lecture he did in 1978, but it does not come. The others, turning away from Bigwig's body, look at him with what looks like newfound respect. It is as if he doesn't even need to bother. Hazel acts as leader, calmly telling Fiver to clean his face so he doesn't attract a Lil. He asks where the other rabbits are. Bluebell tells him what Cowslip said, and Bigwig gasps. They run back to him as he struggles to his feet. For once, this Bigwig has been less brutal than in the original, where his first words were that he would kill Cowslip. Hazel says they need to go before the man who set the snare comes back. They are just helping Bigwig when they spot a rabbit approaching. It is Strawberry. Her initial excuse that she didn't know Cowslip would try to stop them is odd, but then again this depends on whether her warren has made a habit of welcoming rabbits from outside. She asks if she can come with them. Hawkbit angrily asks why should they, and suggests she returns to her friends. But of course she replies that she doesn't have any. In such a warren it isn't worth having any in case they die. She avoids that last word. As she starts to move away, Hazel steps forward and says she can join them, but she must do as she is told. She looks delighted, and her reaction is not over the top. Hawkbit asks where they go from here. Bigwig is back on form as he says they should kill Cowslip and the entire warren, but Fiver points out that all they have to do is leave them to their fate. Bigwig asks Fiver if he really had a feeling about the down he saw. Fiver says he did. It is their home. Without another word, they turn and leave, heading towards Watership Down. There follows an uplifting sequence in which the group, now 8 strong, make their way towards Watership Down at speed, completely unified. The music builds as we see them run past beehives in a field in daylight, then through woodland as the light fades, then over pasture at night, then through a field of purple flowers like those that grew at Cowslip's warren, again in daylight. Finally, in another reveal running up a slope, they arrive at none other than Nuthanger Farm from the north. The music becomes a bit more ominous as they run past a farm gate, exhausted. There Hazel pauses, panting. For some reason, he seems to have recognised rabbit hutches in an outbuilding. There he spots a doe in the uppermost of the 2 hutches. They stare at each other for a few moments. This doe, I don't think I'm spoiling much by saying, is Clover, and her role in the story is going to be a lot more significant than in the original story. Hazel manages to tear himself away as Bluebell hints for him to follow. And now we see Watership Down again as they approach their new home. We do not see the iron tree, however, as the music builds to a triumphant climax. We see that this version of Watership Down has really come through in one regard. In this version, the location of the new warren will be among a small group of trees, a beach hanger if you like. And although it is nowhere near the size of the real version on the actual Watership Down, which is a long belt of trees that extends to the south, this is the first film version of Watership Down to have the warren in anything like its true setting. As Hazel and Fiver reach the top of the down first, they perch on a large block of harder stone which has no place on the Hampshire Downs in real life. This may have been influenced by the geological inaccuracy of the 1999 TV series of 20 years earlier, and this will not be the last time. However, as the others arrive and Bigwig congratulates Hazel Ra on bringing them to such a place, we are treated to one of the most well-known shots from this series. As the whole group perch on the rock, we see them from the front, with the hangar behind them, then from the back as they look over the landscape to the north, and the camera shot tracks upward to show the view and the big sky of Watership Down. And you might have expected this episode to end there. But there is more. It is night time, and Blackberry is explaining that they will need to do a comprehensive survey of the type of soil. To shut him up, Bluebell goes to kiss him, which results in Blackberry saying that is not a thing we do, a bizarre moment of comic relief. It is broken, I think, by Dandelion, who stamps an alarm. He has seen something moving through undergrowth nearby. It is a rabbit. A rabbit who repeats the word Zorn over and over. This lapine word means finished or destroyed. It is Captain Holly of the Sandalford Owsler. He has arrived, to save time, as he has in every portrayal of Watership Down except the 1978 film, at the top of the down, rather than near a ditch in the landscape below. Recognising them, he tells them that Sandalford Warren is gone and that Fiver was right. But there is something else. Something we have not encountered since the 1978 film. Only here it will be taken further, again it seems influenced also by the 1999 TV series. Holly tells them they are not safe here. No one is. As his newfound companions nuzzle and comfort Holly, the camera's view tracks upward, above the rabbits, then above the beach hanger. In the distance, lit by moonlight, we can see two chimneys. The music grows eerie. And then it is suddenly strident and industrial as, in a sequence that emulates the first shots of Saruman's mines in the film Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring 2001, we are suddenly at Ephrafa. Only it is Ephrafa as never seen before. The camera dives down a disused chimney from an old abandoned factory. Then it follows an Owsler member as he runs through tunnels formed largely out of the ruins of the building. As he passes through this terrible place, we hear shouts and snatched voices, including that of a distressed doe. Eventually, this officer, who will turn out to be Sainfoin, arrives at his destination. He reports to a large rabbit that a wide patrol has picked up the scent of a large band of rabbits near the down. However, they have lost them. The large rabbit says they must not return until they have found them, and one is to be left alive for questioning. We do not yet know how Holly has encountered Ephrafa on his way to Watership Down, as he did in the 1978 film. What is for certain is that we are back to the far closer Ephrafa to Watership Down of the 1999 TV series. The large rabbit turns to face the officer as he finishes, and we see that his left eye is pure white. It is General Woundwort. Fire on Fire. This episode ends with the first time we hear a song that was composed specially for this miniseries that I will briefly discuss separately. Fire on Fire, sung by Sam Smith, is a very good song, I think. It was recorded at Abbey Road Studios in London with the BBC Concert Orchestra and was released as a single on the 21st of December 2018, the day before the first broadcast of episode 1 of the miniseries, reaching the top 40 in 6 European countries. And most of its lyrics, in general terms, do on the whole fit in with the general themes of this version of Watership Down, especially one where overt romance will be a feature later on. Again, that seems to have been a possible influence of the 1999 TV series. However, considering the fact that it was specifically written for a version of Watership Down, its opening lyrics, the ones we first hear just a couple of seconds after our first sight of Woundwort, seem absolutely bizarre to me. They are, quote, "My mother said I'm too romantic. She said you're dancing in the movies." End quote. As I said, I like the song, but shouldn't some more thought have been given to the first words we hear in a song that will end each of the 4 episodes of this miniseries? Or am I missing something? Probably. Comparison with the book. The snaring of Bigwig is an effective scene overall, but I did miss Fiver's rant or lecture as he explains the nature of that disturbing Warren, and the shame of Strawberry seems true to her character. The sequence in which they all finally make their way to Watership Down is very uplifting, with Hazel's sighting of Clover at Nuthanger Farm foreshadowing events to come. Once they arrive on the Down, we seem to see holes in a bank at the edge of the hangar in one shot, which is very strange because one major thing in this version of Watership Down's favour is that they do not arrive at the Down to find a ready-made warren for them. In fact, the creation of the warren will become a very specific storyline in episode 2, even if it varies from the book. Holly's summarised arrival at the top of the Down is fairly standard, but the realisation from him that we are going to be dealing with another nearby Ephrafa was a bit of a disappointment. I think this was another influence of the 1999 to 2001 TV series. This is further reinforced by the first sight of this industrialised Ephrafa, which seems possibly influenced by the Darkhaven of the TV series. Finally, I found the first sight of Woundwort very encouraging. He really does look the part, and of course he follows the convention of having an injured left eye, which was established in the first film portrayal of Watership Down in 1978. Overall then, this section keeps reminding me never to reject a version of this story out of hand, for every version, whatever its faults, has provided us with the first dramatised portrayal of something from the original beloved story. And in this case, that is particularly the portrayal of the beach hanger on Watership Down. Next time, we learn of the fate of Sandalford and meet Kihar.